Hello, everybody. We want to use this time to say a big Happy New Year to everybody in the city of Fargo and beyond. And given the devastation we're witnessing in California with the devastating fire, our hearts are with the people of California. That is a historic fire, and we should keep remembering and praying for those people. I know some of us have families and friends over in California, so we pray that God can help them bring the fire under control and to help overcome the seriousness going on over there. On this note, I would like to call the meeting to order. Thank you for joining us today. I call the January 16 meeting of the Human Rights Commission to order. Let us begin with an introduction of commission members.
Tambasa, Commission Member. Tambasa, Commission Member.
Cody Severson, Commission Member.
Nancy Boyle, Commission Member.
Sekou Sirleaf, Chair of the Commission.
Kristen Nelson, Commission Member.
Courtney Cronbach, Commission Member.
Carolyn B. Kraft, Commission Member.
Zoe Apsey, Commission Member.
Do we have anybody joining us virtually today? Okay. Our next item is to approve the agenda of the meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Can I get a second? We have a motion by Carolyn B. Kraft and a second by Nancy Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say sign. Motion carried. The next item is to approve the minutes of the September 19, 2024 meeting. That should be the December meeting. I think that should be the December meeting, December 19, not September. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the December meeting?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Zoe and a second by Caroline. Can I, everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say sign. Motion carried. Next item is legislative update. Christian?
Yeah, I'm going to do the legislative update. As we know, legislative session started January 7th. We have almost 1,000 bills, I think, that have been proposed in the legislature this session. House bill, Carolyn.
Oh, pardon me.
Sorry. We have quite a number of bills proposed this session, and I'm just going to go through some that I believe are pertinent to the Human Rights Commission. First, House Bill 1145 is about adding the Ten Commandments document to all school buildings, classrooms, higher education, universities in the state. For Fargo Public Schools alone, we have 825 classrooms that this would impact, and there is no appropriation for adding this, so this would be out of the pocket of each individual school district. There was a hearing on that on Tuesday, I believe. There was no action taken on that bill in the House yet, so there's more to come.
For you.
Yes.
Did that also include the university system as well, or
Correct.
just? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah. So, and as I understand, there haven't been any amendments made to that bill quite yet. So, there's more to come as far as that one goes. House Bill 1150. That one's less, it'll have a huge impact on how the city operates. I think it's bringing blue laws back and allowing or making exemptions and for businesses that must remain or can remain open, and businesses that have to close until noon on Sundays. it's one that I believe, that does concern us because we have, there isn't necessarily anything in there that defines what somebody's Sabbath is or like what their day of religious observation is. But there was an amendment made yesterday. I didn't see it attached to the notes quite yet on the website, but we have more. House Bill 1181, and I have to find it really quick.
Do we know if anybody, like for the blue law, like what are the advocates saying on, like there's an advocate team that's going forward and bringing that, right?
Yeah, there is. There is an advocacy team going forward with that one, and they're talking about that. Sunday morning should be somebody's time to worship if they want to go to church and not have to work on a Sunday, or that they can spend time with their family on Sunday. It's basically, and a question was posed, why does the state have to step in and define what somebody does with their personal time?
Sure.
And the answer was brought by the sponsor, Matt Heilman, who is heavily involved in the Catholic Church. He said, well, if this is against your religious belief to work on a Sunday, then that should be protected time. There is already a law in Century Code that does protect that time. So folks are saying that this is, overstepping again and unnecessary.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Back to, 1181. I'm going to find it first. This would establish gender usage language that's determined and the individual's sex at birth must be used in the school district's policies, records, forms, rules, standards, procedures, guides, materials, instruction, training, corresponding advertising or marketing. This is kind of a copycat of the one that we saw in 2023. I believe that they do want a DNA component again, and nobody even last session could define or really tell us how that would happen, who would pay for that, and what would be the policing or whatever on how to do that. So no hearing on that one set as of yet either. 2105. So this bill is a bill talking about, this is a Senate Bill 2105, a bill that would create requirements that where schools could not administer a survey to students in kindergarten through 12th grade on behalf of a third party other than from DPI, unless the student or parent or guardian says so in writing, that they can do that in writing. And so the concern about this bill is the youth behavior risk survey, right? So in the youth behavior risk survey, there are questions in there asking about suicidality, about gender, about, sexuality, those things. That's the data we're gathering from that survey. And about bullying and depression and all those things. Districts and agencies across the state find that survey incredibly useful, and it's very well respected. A lot of agencies use that data, not just our school district. We do use that data, and we gather that data, and we can collate it out just for Fargo students. And so then we can target our learning interventions or whatever to really help those students. So this would basically take away that unless it's administered directly by DPI.
And to my knowledge, that's the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. That's the only survey currently in the state that actually gives us information on K through 12 students as well.
That is true. Yeah. I
And
believe
so why is that bill, is that survey, why is the bill targeting that survey?
Because of
Like it's just saying that.
I think it's too sensitive, right?
Okay.
Like that they want to see parents have probably more control over the things that their kids are seeing is a couple of things that I've heard about it.
Sure.
And as our district goes, we have authorizations like in registration paperwork talking about, making it okay to or signing off that you're okay to fill out these surveys or whatever might come in the school. Down the line. And then 2104, I have written down as well. I gotta find it. This one, Senate Bill 2104 would allow the superintendent of public instruction to oversee a school district's compliance with state law. So this one is basically a direct target, if you will, at Fargo Public Schools for the promise that we would support queer and trans youth and not out them to their parents and that's just a very broad summary of what that was last session. Folks are mad about us not, our district not complying with state law when that was put out last session. And so and there's two bills, it's 2104 and then one by Representative Casper, also kind of saying the same thing, that there'd be a penalty and school districts must follow state law, even though this is what federal law says. So
Again, we were really proud of Fargo Public Schools last session for standing up against that and
Yep.
for Dr. Gandhi to make those proclamations.
right, yeah. So only two bills that I mentioned out of that group so far have been heard in committee. It is just the beginning. The House has until Monday to introduce their bills, and then the Senate has until the 27th to introduce their bills. So we will have a lot coming up, and yeah. Did you have another one?
Sure about 1144, or I can too, that's the trans bathroom bill.
Oh, yes. That is, House Bill 1144 is a bill that would ban trans folks from was that a public one? Or just public school?
Yeah, public
Yeah,
schools.
you can take that one if you want.
Yeah, House Bill 1144 was introduced, and that would be for trans individuals, that they would be asked to use bathroom related to gender or sex assigned at birth. There is no criminal penalty associated with that, but a civil penalty that could be up to $2,000. And once again, when you think of how would people know that? Who is monitoring that? Who is checking that? That is the greatest fear within that if that goes through.
And the penalty is assessed to the family or to who?
If it would be a youth, it would be assessed to the family. If it would be over the age of 18 to that person directly. Or 18 and older because of being an adult.
Okay.
And what could be the penalty? Do we know that?
The penalty could be up to $2,000,
$2,000.
civil penalty. Yep, not criminal.
Yep.
Wow.
And then just to go off
Wild
of
stuff.
everything that you shared as well, some of you may be familiar with Prairie Action North Dakota, and they're doing quite a bit of advocacy and activism. They do have a training that's online this Saturday, January 18th. So if you want some information on that, it's specifically looking at legislative spotlight. They're going to have various representatives from North Dakota United, Human Rights Coalition, Native Vote as well. An hour-long free training, so great for the public, for those that want to be more involved in understanding that too. So wanted to put a plug in for that at this point, and we'll share more later.
How do we get it linked to the online training?
Yep, if you go to Prairie Action North Dakota, there's going to be a button for Amplify North Dakota. There's upcoming webinars. I believe it's one webinar a month is what I saw earlier today. But the next one specifically looking at the legislative spotlight will take place Saturday. So yeah, prairieactionnorthdakota.org, specifically the button for Amplify North Dakota.
And I assume if anybody's watching and wants to get more involved as well with Kristen's work, like if they messaged Brenda or the administrative team here to get that over to them, if people wanted to ask questions or anything, is that plausible?
Yes, on the website, there is a email to go to HRC, and that goes right into the HRC mailbox, and then I can get that out.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, Carolyn?
I have a question just for the city. What, has the city taken a position on any of these bills?
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. Not formally on any of these particular bills. What we're still doing is collecting all the information we can on new House bills as they get entered into the system. So as mentioned at the outset, there are a number of bills that are getting revealed almost on a daily basis. So we're amalgamating all of that information, then figuring out where we want to provide a written or in-person testimony.
And where would we find what that position would be once you make the decision?
So at our future city commission meetings, what we do is we provide a briefing on bills that we're tracking. And so we've typically created a spreadsheet for the commission. We'd be happy to share that information with the HRC as well, but it just shows some of the hot button topics that we're tracking. Property tax is going to be another matter that takes a lot of our attention and time this session.
I think that would be very helpful for us. And I would imagine the blue laws legislation will have some business opposition.
Any other discussion on the legislative updates?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you. That takes us to the next item on the agenda. And that is the strategic planning for the HRC. As it stands, this should have happened at least before we got into the new year. And then we would have just kept the ball rolling, but now we are here. And we still don't have any proposed date yet for the strategic planning meeting for HRC. And I want to hear what you think. When can we fix this strategic planning meeting? I'm looking at, I know February HRC meeting is on the 20th. And also March is on March 20th. So anything that we have to set has to be before the HRC meeting and not after. And I'm hoping that we can, have this strategic planning meeting within this first quarter. So that will help us going forward. And I want to hear what you think.
Didn't we agree on receiving a survey with a list of options on dates that we can select? I remember the last session we had, we sort of agreed on that we should have received some sort of survey that we can respond to so that everyone can have the opportunity to select what date works for them.
Yes, I remember that. I think we talked to Brenda, if I'm remembering, to just put out tentative dates and see who is suited for what. I'm sure normally by the end of the year, things get fast-tracked and she has so much on her plate, so maybe she might have missed that, but I don't think it's late for us to do that now. So my question will be, if, to Brenda will be, tomorrow is Friday, but between now and next week, maybe just send out a group email. And we too can be part of the process by suggesting some dates that she can also put on that email and send out. And let's see how many people will sign up for which date. And that will help make her job easier too. So I don't just want us to sit and fold our hands and say, hey, let Brenda do everything. It's not fair to.
So I think that would be the question I'd have. I know we've talked about a few things. I know Nancy's brought forward the potential of, do we want anyone to visit, to come in and talk?
Yes.
So I think that's the question, is if we need to bring someone in, that might take a little more time to plan. If we want to just get the group together to be able to just talk first, and then that might be a step one, step two. Then what we could do after MLK Day, I'd be happy to do that. We can do a doodle poll, and I think my question would be is, would you think about, I could focus it on maybe the week prior to your HRC meeting, or how I could check on the availability then. I think that's the only, if you could let me know kind of where you'd like me to structure that between your meeting schedules, then that's where I could focus that doodle poll on.
Yeah, I think we already got past certain things when it comes to bringing in somebody. We all agree. It was not just about bringing somebody. A particular name had been floated that we all agree on, that he was going to be good to lead us through this strategic planning discussion. So I don't remember that name, the individual again, but we already settled on that, and we were only talking about the dates.
Well, and when a handful of us met with Brenda and Michael, it was the discussion of possibly meeting with Moorhead's Human Rights Commission, and they're taking a little bit of a hiatus. So that was reported back to this group. And so if I remember correctly, that's where we kind of ended with a standstill with then talking MLK Day, everything else. So I'm in agreement with what you share too, of getting something on the books to talk about those next steps, and then having everybody that are, or all the commissioners being able to be part of that conversation if others agree. As far as what is that next step, is it looking at getting on the phone with a handful of those communities we talked about in that smaller group? Mayor out of one of the suburbs of the cities that has done some work as well, but to make sure everybody's on the same page before we take that next step, if people would be in agreement of that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would prefer to have a strategic planning professional come and, lead in that discussion. But one thing that is also very integral to this whole thing is having that date locked down. Because if we're talking to somebody, we have to tell them this is the date. We can tell them, hey, we need your consent. And then before we go back and tell you what the date is, we should be telling them we have this strategic planning at this so-and-so time, at so-and-so place, and we want you to come and talk to us. And let them find time in their schedule. So I don't think setting the date should be a problem to any one of us. So we should start with that. And then whatever we agree on, that's what Brenda's gonna send out, and that makes her job easier, and then we can talk to whoever we want to invite. So we can take some suggestions and, Anybody?
You mean suggestions for dates still? Like for the time frame, suggestions for the time frame, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys want us to, talk that over with Brenda and just send out any email that you will respond to? Because sometimes we find it hard. I mean, I can get with Brenda and we can decide on something, and then we push it out and see what everybody can sign off on. I think Michael is in agreement with that.
Yeah, so we could take a couple of weeks and
Yes.
start with a couple of weeks, see if there's some times that everyone can make it. If not, we
Yes.
can just keep kind of shifting until we find that spot too.
Yeah, and my fear is, going by our history, there's no way we'll have a consensus. So I don't want us to think about that consensus and then we'll just keep kicking the can down the road, and before we know it, it'll be July, August, and we've not had the strategic planning meeting. We can decide to do it in two ways, one or two ways. We can decide to make it both in person and virtual. So that way, those who can come in, they can, join in from wherever. So it's the best way to have our greatest participation. So, okay, I think we are on the same page. I will work with Brenda and Michael, and we will send you out some emails. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is a discussion we floated in the last meeting, December 19th meeting, about, having catchphrases for every year. I'm just thinking of ways we can galvanize the group and just enact some. I'm not saying we don't already have passion or we're not passionate about what we do. We already have that, but I'm just thinking of, stepping up a notch or so. So for this year, 2025, the proposed catchphrase was diving deeper. Diving deeper. We want to do, we want to do things because as I come to HRC meeting from time to time, including this morning, I think it was more prevalent on my mind, and somebody commented something that was posted about the HRC, and, you know, they were very vain in their conversation online, the hall is always empty. We're not getting the community. How do we get the community to participate? So those are some of the ways we can dive deeper. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking in my mind, okay, what strategies? How do we get to the community to let them know we are here for them? We want to hear them. To think that there's no issue going on in the community will be a misgiving. So how do we get the community participation? And that is incumbent on all of us, HRC and the city, because I know in the beginning the community was really coming. But if the community keep coming and bringing issues to us and we just hear it and there's no action on it, then why should they keep coming? So HRC and the city, we got to find a way that when people come to meet us, they will get redressed to some of the concerns they raise instead of just come and talk to us and they go back and that's it. So I'm really thinking in that way. That's why we need those catchphrases, you know, to motivate us, challenge us to roll up our sleeves and really put in the work. We can't just, after every HRC meeting, we just go about our businesses, waiting for the next third Thursday, and we just come here and we're not doing any work in the community. So that's why we need these catchphrases as reminders.
I was just going to mention that I love the catchphrase. I was wondering if we wanted to wait to finalize that until we had our strategy session, just to make sure it correlates with our priorities and the vision for this year.
That's a good idea.
Great idea.
Will everybody get behind that?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to vote on this one, do we? No. So we have a consensus. The catchphrases are great, but we should wait to implement after our strategic planning meeting so we can build most of our discussions around that. I think it's just fair. Thank you, Courtney. The next item on our agenda is the MLK Day. The event will be on Monday, January 20th, and we know it's the same date with the inauguration in DC. Lots of people want to be glued to their TV, but I mean, it will all be over before the MLK Day because it's much later in the evening. Doors will open at 6 p.m. and the event starts at 6:30. I mean, I know Zoe is here and Cody, they can give us some updates on that, so.
Zoe can, yes.
Yeah, I just want to give a huge shout out to Nancy, Courtney, and Brenda for helping with the nominations committee and winners. This year we have 2 youth that are, so we have 4 total winners, which is really exciting. We had a lot of, close to 20 applications total, so it was a lot. It was really exciting to look through, and Courtney made a nice little sheet on how to rank them, which was really helpful, even though I did it wrong. But still, super great to start having some of those processes in place. Yeah, so those will all be announced on Monday night, so we hope that HRC has a good representation there. If you're wanting to come and volunteer and be part of the event, Fred is asking that people get there around 5:30. So if you want to help hand out goodie bags or help just be a greeter, there's plenty of space for us to be part of the day.
Is there going to be a photo booth? Do you know?
You know, we did not talk about that last night, so I have no idea.
I know there's lots of books being given away, so that's pretty fun.
Yes, and they're really excited about the lineup of students. And so I'm just excited to see all the kids and what they bring to the table this year. And this year, I know we've talked about it, but there's going to be videos along when the winner is announced. So the city has been great at getting those, some B-roll and interviews with the winners in a really fast turnaround since we announced last week, I think. So yeah, I'm really excited. Brenda, do you have anything to add?
No, I think we finished up our videos yesterday with not only the award recipients, but the nominees
Okay.
to get both sides. So we're really excited for this.
How did the personal calls go? Did we do that?
Like to share?
Winners?
Yeah, so I was able to get a hold of 2 via the phone, and they were really excited and one individual was very shocked and like, who nominated me? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was happening. So it was really fun
Yay.
to share that news. And then Brenda was able to communicate over email with the others.
Okay, very cool. I saw that the kids will be rehearsing tomorrow night.
Yes, their
Yay.
final rehearsal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really
Exciting.
exciting.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I have a question. I've been on this commission for 4.5 years. And we, as a commission, have been asking this for 4.5 years. Will we have name badges that say Human Rights Commission that we can be identified by? Because this is a Human Rights Commission award, so that is, we're helping out that we are identified as being a member of the Human Rights Commission? I'm sorry to put this on your lap, Brenda, but it's been 4.5 years. We've asked.
That's a good question, before Brenda comes in, because, I mean, I've attended some of them, and the protocol at the, venue, sometimes they don't even know the HRC members. And I've walked in and, it's like, they didn't even know what, I had to introduce myself to even be given a seat. So yet the name badge will work, and then sometimes too, maybe having HRC members on the protocol team at the doors who know, the city leadership and those HRC member that will be able to, welcome them and, usher them to their seats. But yep, I'll let Brenda speak to that.
I can check upstairs. This is the first it's been asked of me.
I
And the event is Monday.
Yes,
And
I
so,
understand.
we can check what's upstairs, and if we have supplies on hand, there's no reason we can't print something. It would be just a printed on paper type of name tag is what it would be.
I guess with that request going out, if we could have them made for the summer events that are going on,
Yeah.
that'd be great in 6 months.
Do we have pins, HRC pins that we could just wear on Monday?
We do have HRC pins. We could wear them Monday, but I'll be honest, they are approximately the size of the top of this pen in length and width, about the same thing.
Okay.
So depending on where you have that tag,
Might
or a
not
little,
be sure.
like if it's right here, great, people will see it there, but yeah, Carolyn remembers when we got them at the event, I actually used them as earrings for the event. They were that size. So they're smaller than what I have in right now. Not to make a fashion faux pas, but that's the reality. We would have to wear 5 to 10 of them for somebody to.
Mr. Chairman, I'll work with Brenda and administration. I assumed we had name tags, but we'll work on that topic. And while we're on it, I hope you all show up. We have some years where we have a really dismal turnout and some years where we have a great turnout at HRC. Let's all be there if we can. And then we'll have to have a notice put out of a quorum.
Yeah, and, to save the city some money too, we could, have some generic badge, and just a HRC member HRC, without even putting name on it, the city can have those. The turnaround time is still long. We still got a few days. I print some of those badges too. And it's just, once you create a design, to print it is nothing. And we can just have it for any occasion, anytime we go in. But yeah, I was going to speak on that, towards the front, when we get to administrative updates too. So I got some things to say on that.
Not to be a thorn in the side, but I think that as a matter of protocol for this commission, that as new members come on, they should each get a badge with their name, because so we can be visible.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming you. I know you didn't know this, Brenda. But we have been asking for 4.5 years.
Yes.
I want that on the record.
I mean, since you brought that, so that, go back to it when we get to item number 8 on the agenda. Yes, so that's what I said. I had that on my mind to speak on. Maybe during the onboarding process, we should have those badges there. But also, every time I visit the City of Fargo website, I'm also wanting to propose that when it comes to the HRC, that I will want to see, when we go to the HRC corner, to see a headshot of HRC members and a brief bio. A little paragraph under them, I would love to see that, so that we can put faces to the names. Because you go to the site, you only see the names, you don't know who these people are.
similar to how the Police Advisory and Oversight Board's
Yes.
website looks.
Yes.
Just to put that out there.
Yeah, so we will want to put face to the name. So we need headshot of every HRC member and a brief bio under that name, so people can see that. That way, anywhere you go, you know, oh, okay, this person's a HRC member.
I do want to give credit. Last year at the MLK event, they did have on their slideshow our group photo.
Yeah.
And so they did do that. And which makes me think with Courtney being new, have we taken a group photo?
We've not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the problem because the group photo that's the only thing we have there.
Yeah.
And the image is not as large, so, but I think every individual HRC member should have a headshot and a brief bio under the headshot.
Oh, now, I have not been in the meetings for the flow of show, but it would be nice, I think, when the awards are given out by the HRC, that there be will the members of the HRC in the audience please stand up? At least there's a recognition that there's more than,
Yep, so my question on that on the the MLK Day on Monday, have we concluded on what the program will be on the program? Because I know we handled that in the agenda setting meeting, what we want the program to be, who's doing what. Have we concluded on that? And that question is to Zoe and Brenda.
So I did, when Frederick came by the other day, we did talk, and I know we had talked about what has historically happened. And so he really didn't have that this is the way it's always been. It sounds like from him, it's been a little bit different every time.
Okay.
And so I think, one of the things we threw out there, and it's one thing I wanted to talk with you and Zoe and just see how you want to handle it, is just to have the chair come up, and whether it's a welcome or however you want to handle that, and then bring up all the different people. You could have the HRC commission stand up at that time, and then bring up whoever will be calling up the winners, along with the people that will be presenting the award and shaking the hand.
Yeah. I asked the question because I don't want us to get there and just like we're rehearsing on the stage. Okay, who's supposed to do it? We should handle all of that before Monday to know everybody who has to do whatever should be told, what are we doing, what the protocol will be, the structure be. So when we get there, it's automatic.
Yeah, so I think the flow show that Brenda and I have kind of talked about is Sekou, you'd come up and then call up John Strand and the mayor and then yourself, and then the nominations committee would come up to read the awardees. And so we would read off a little description, we'd play the video, and then that individual would come up and to receive the award and shake all three individuals' hands up on stage. We have about 25 minutes, so we also want to make sure that we're respectful of that time slot.
Just thinking ahead with the logistics on stage where Sekou, Mayor Mahoney, and John would be, is there going to be a table set up that have the awards sitting on there? And the reason I ask that is I can make sure I have the Human Rights Commission tablecloth too. And we could use that for that table. I mean, just thinking ahead.
There hasn't been in the past, but I think.
We can ask, yeah.
Because if it's something that can just be pulled out from the side, because I know there's going to be the students that are performing and everything else, so they'll need space on the stage. But yeah, just let me know what additional items I need to bring, and I will.
Okay, perfect. Does that sound good with you, Sekou?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good, and we will have some more discussion on that afterwards. Because I'm thinking, if we have a table with the awards there and the nomination committee making the announcements, somebody got to get the awards from the table to pass it over, and maybe you can do that too. You can be on the stage, get the award as the announcement is made. Maybe get up and I can pass it over to Mayor Mahoney, who's going to do. And we shake hands, and that's it. So we'll have some more discussion on that.
And I do know, talking at one of our meetings, there'll be tape. They're going to put tape on the stage so you know exactly where to stand. And so there shouldn't be any issues there. And so we can talk through kind of the real specifics after this, if Zoe and Nancy and you can stay a little bit longer and we can kind
So
of talk about that flow.
since the door open at 6 p.m. and the event starts at 6:30, those participating, is it advisable that maybe we'll go a little early to see because the tip is on the stage, but we can just do a little 5 minutes rehearsal. I just like to be at the top of my game, It can be so embarrassing. You're on stage and everybody trying to whisper on, how things are supposed to flow. And we are the HRC. We gotta make them, the city know we know what we're doing. All right. Any other discussion on MLKT? That takes us into our next item on the agenda, which is administrative updates. Brenda, do we have any update?
The only thing I want to get on everyone's calendars, I'd like to just schedule monthly those agenda setting meetings. So I'd like to do it the Wednesday before, the week before. And is there any issue, 12, 12:30? Does one time work better than the other? I would just like to get it on our calendars and I'll schedule it throughout the whole year and then we're set for the year.
Yeah, I think the agenda setting meeting should be standardized. So that when people put it on their calendar, you're not thinking, okay, maybe next month it might be on Tuesday, another time it might be on Monday, like we used to do, or it might be at this time, but it is on this day, at this time, it's standardized, put that on your calendar. So even if you don't have an email reminder, you already know this is what's supposed to be done. I would support that.
12 noon is fine with me.
Yeah.
Same.
If that's a.
Because that is lunchtime too, so even if you at work, you
Yeah.
can use your lunch.
Depending on the Wednesday, 12, 12:15, or 12:30, but I do not need to be present at all.
And it's virtual, so.
Okay, I will get something out then, and that's all I had.
Good.
Was there anything that came through the website over the last month?
No, there was nothing on the website or through the email system.
Okay.
So on that note, another thing I'm working on, because I really want the HRC, thanks to Cody and other people who led the HRC for the great work they did to, get us solid and grounded. And we are just here to continue that legacy, continue that path. So what I'm thinking on trainings too, because a lot of us, including me, we got to know about the HRC, we applied, we came, but we've not really done anything in human rights specifically. So I've been looking online to see, what human rights conferences around the country, around the world, and I know every year I got a whole list of them that are taking place in different parts of the U.S. Some are, right there in Winnipeg that we can drive to, and I want us to take advantage of some of these conferences, so attend these conferences and, get to really know what the human rights is all about and how these works are done around the world. I'm also thinking about, and I'm maybe in the next meeting, I'm going to announce some dates. I'm trying to work with the Human Rights Museum in Winnipeg, Canada. I want the HRC to take a trip to Winnipeg, Canada, to visit the Human Rights Museum there. I mean, it will also help the work that we do to inspire us. So I want us to be on board. I know the city, right now, they used to have a little budget for HRC on the Department of DEI. And I want to ask Brenda, if there's going to be any budget for HRC, because we have some great things we want to do. And some of these things, like making name badges, if we have a budget, we got some talented people, we got connection, those are things we can also do and come and present a sample and the city approve it. We can do some of those works on our own instead of waiting for the city that is already overloaded with activities. So if we know if there's any budget in there, but some of these trainings will have to be self-sponsored. If you're interested in it, I'm ready to take the deep dive to attend as many, I got that on my bucket list, many human rights conferences this year. So if you think that sounds good, next meeting I will come with some conference dates, and, some of them you have to register, and some of them, if you have a sponsor organization, like the city of Fargo say, hey, we're sponsoring 2-3 HRC members, it would be good to train our people, and, we know exactly what we're doing. So, thank you.
Just to add to that quickly, I like the part when you said, like if you get onboarded as a new HRC member, we don't go through like some sort of formal training.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. If someone comes in, regardless of your level of education or your ability, but there should be some sort of like orientation
Yes.
during the onboarding process on what we do. So I think that should be embedded within our strategic planning meeting as part of a standardized practice we should adopt.
That's fair. And that's why the strategic planning meeting, I think, we can't overemphasize that, because we put all the subcommittee on hold until we can get the strategic planning going on, so we know exactly what we're doing. And that can be part of one of the subcommittee's responsibility to do orientation, onboarding orientation, because it's just necessary. So you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing when you join the HRC, what are your roles, what are your responsibilities, and, things. It's very important. And we can put that on one of the subcommittees for orientation, onboarding orientation. Great idea, Tamba.
And just being a newer member, I was thinking about that orientation, and I think it's important, like in terms of the topics of the committee or the commission that you're on. But I also think it could be helpful and maybe a partnership we could have with other commissions that have new
Yes.
members, like just more in general, what to expect when you're on a commission for the city of Fargo.
This, Courtney, you mentioning that, I mentioned to Nancy and Brenda at one point of having like a commission fair just for the public and people who are wanting to get civically involved of, look at all the volunteer commissions that you could be part of. I don't know how many people I would like to attend it, but just that could get people interested, and then just having that collaboration across all the committees.
So aren't there currently 23 subcommissions from the city of Fargo?
I'm going to chime in here for a
Yeah.
second. Our strategic planning at the city commission level will be unfolding in a couple weeks, and addressing and looking at boards and commissions and structures and processes is front burner for us. So all of our boards and commissions will be under discussion and ways and going for, because it's not just this commission, it's about all of them. So we're looking to streamline and to clarify roles and authorities and all that stuff. So you're not alone in this request, but it will be unfolding at that balcony level.
Hearing that from you, John, I'm just thinking ahead with our strategic planning meeting. Would it be in our best interest, and I by no means want to push it off to July, but hearing that the city commission is going over the different duties per se of the commission's mission, vision, all of that, should HRC wait to do our strategic planning meeting until after city commission does that, because there might be some instructions from that layer?
My sense is continue your path forward.
Okay.
Get your ducks in a row, know where you're at, know what you want and need, and be cohesive, so that we're not at a loss for wondering what this particular commission's desires and hopes are and needs would be.
So we can still be the driver of that while you guys are the
I would say keep going forward until told otherwise.
Perfect, thank you for that.
Out of curiosity, is your planning session for this, for city commission, is that like a multi-day event? Does that go over like multiple weeks, or what's the timeline for that?
It'll be a few hours, and I think it's in a week or two, but it's it's coming up, but it'll be an afternoon, half a day at the most. And what will probably, I don't know, I'm anticipating we'll open the door to begin the process of figuring out how we're going to go forward with all the boards and commissions topics. But so don't wait for us,
Okay.
especially with topics going on. You have things that are happening right now. And that's your job right now, is what's going on moment present. You know, legislative issues and other community issues and priorities and stuff. So and the more cohesive you are, the less vulnerable you are to people saying, you know, they're not real. Stay active.
And will that session be open to the public?
It is. It's not real exciting, but yeah, it is open to the public technically, yes.
Yeah, I think it will be good to be a part of, such discussion. Thank you, Commissioner Strong. Yes.
Oh, are we on announcement? Is this what we're doing right now? I
No, we're
Oh,
not. doing-
okay.
We were still on the administrative update. All right, I think we're making progress. So next item on our agenda is announcements. Do we have HRC members who have announcement? Do we have staff members here with announcements?
I have a couple announcements, just more of awareness, days and months and causes for all of us as HRC members to be aware of, and those in the community as well. So in January, the month of January is not only Poverty Awareness Month, but also National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. So when you think of those two awareness pieces, they directly correlate. We know that the socioeconomic status can make even a greater impact on those that are traumatized through that of modern day slavery and human trafficking. So definitely educate yourself on those issues. And then just this past, not past Tuesday, but just 2 days ago, was the observation of the Buddhist New Year. We have Martin Luther King Day, of course, on Monday, January 20th. International Holocaust Remembrance Day is being observed Monday, January 27th. And then Chinese New Year is observed January 29th through the 2nd. And then just a couple more and I'll be quiet. In February, Black History Month. Also observed on Monday, February 17th is Random Act of Kindness Day. So I'm going to throw out a challenge to everybody listening, paying attention that's here today. Let's make a huge impact that day, because there's no reason not to. And then also observation on Thursday, February 20th is World Day of Social Justice.
Thank you.
In the next 3 to 4 months as well, for the area colleges, we have Rainbow Prom coming up. I believe that it's in March. I think Concordia, MSUM, NDSU, and M-State get together and host a Rainbow Prom. And then Lavender graduation, that's 4 or 5 months out, but that always comes up quick. But so if college students are listening, you can go to your DEI representative at your college and find out how to be a part of those if you're graduating this semester.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
I have a couple. On behalf of Fauzia with the Immigrant Development Center, they have their fundraiser on January 22nd at 2 p.m. at Microsoft. It's called Hope for New Horizons. So she would love for everyone to know about that event. And then Day of Action is this Saturday at Bruhala. They are doing a People's March starting at 10 a.m. on the bridge, but then there's also a Day of Action with Planned Parenthood, ACLU, and a few other organizations around writing to your legislators, and just a fun little kit that you can be part of. And then also just wanted this group to know that with Global Refuge, World Refugee Day is coming to the Fargo side on June 20th. And there is a little subcommittee that has been working on starting the planning process. Similar to Cody, June is kind of far out, but it's going to come quick. And I was in that space as a food bank employee, but with my transition to the YWCA, I kind of have been saying that, well, I'm on the Human Rights Commission, so it makes sense for us to be here. So if anyone else is interested in being on the planning committee, let me know, it would be a great opportunity for us to have a booth when thinking of events where we should be at, to have a table there come June.
Yeah, that's a great program. Any other announcement from the city? From staff, All right. We hard pressed on time right now, so we'll go into the next item, which is public comments. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Those who wish to address the Human Rights Commission must use the sign-up sheet. Speakers must state their name and will be limited to 2.5 minutes. Comments should not contain profanity or personal attacks. Staff, do we have anyone who signed up today for public comments?
We do not.
Is there anybody who, in the audience, you did not sign up, but you here and you, yep, you can have the podium for 2.5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm Shane Netterville's older brother, and I'm still trying to get justice for him. And I've missed a lot of meetings mainly because I figure there's no point. We can't get past the police advisory, so what's the point of having other committees? And my mental health's was bad. But I can't check myself into prayer because, God forbid, I'm locked somewhere for 2 weeks. Something else happens to my brothers or my sister. But I'm trying to get back into doing this. This last year, people came together and got him a headstone because Jeff Bear busted the one I made up, which I think he should still be arrested for and actually looked into because he said a volunteer did it. And what I read is sextons are only supposed to touch that. And who does that on the 4th of July, just before the 8th of Shane's death? I think something's wrong with that. That's just me. And I have rights too, I think. My family does. My therapy just got paid a couple of weeks ago. Thousands in therapy, thousands in medication I have to take just to even be standing here. And I'm disabled. November that year Shane got killed, I got approved for my disability. And I think that's probably because my brother was murdered. But I've been living off of little and doing this stuff, and I'm not the most stable person to be doing this, but he needs a brother here, and I don't work, so I need to start trying, but I'm dying slowly every time. But I just wanted to come today to let you know I'm still trying.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here.
Anybody has any comment on that? Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being strong. And thank you for fighting for your brother and your family.
I'm sorry we don't have anything more substantive yet,
Yeah.
but thank you for keeping it on the front burner for us.
Right. Is there any other thing anybody wants to share before we bring this meeting to a close? Okay. This meeting of the Human Rights Commission stands adjourned. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for February 20, 2025 at noon. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you in February.